It says this battery's full.
Mommy, she hurt me.
I'm doing enough.
You what?
I asked him if he got Betty anything for Mother's Day. He said he's doing enough for her. What did I do? What did I do?
You aren't having any difficulty. Now, if you are, and you want to go back outside, I can take you out from here. But after we get past this point, you're going to be in trouble. Because there's a point of no return. Only thing
I want to go back.
You want to go back?
No, you can come out, baby.
No.
You know what I do. Nah, you don't come back.
Yes, I do.
You could get that
No, you have to go.
You want to go back? What for?
Because you told him he couldn't come out. No, it comes out down at the other end.
Yeah, it goes out the other side.
It goes out the other side. You don't get stuck in here.
Now, I was going to say, if you are having any trouble with claustrophobia, after we get past this point, the only thing I can do for you is I got some rope I can give to you, or I have a hammer. Your choice. Now, this mines that you're in,
Daddy said come down.
they started working it in the year 1890. They worked it until 1910, and in 1910 they shut this mines down. In 1960, the city of Beckley bought it. In 1962, they opened the mines for tours, and they fixed it up the way you see it now. Everything done inside this mines in those years was done by hand. With no electrical equipment in the mines. And a miner had to load a small car. Those wooden cars that they would have would range anywhere from 200 pound up to a 3-ton car. And after the miner loaded the car, they had animals that would pull the car outside for the man. Now I'm going to show you the coal seam, and it's over here. It's where my light's shining. From here at the top right there, all the way to the bottom, that's the coal seam itself. It's called the Sewell seam. It's metallurgical bituminous soft coal. Throughout this mine, this seam will average 33 inches in height. You can go 5 miles from here, a place called Eccles, and this same seam will be in that mines also. Except in the other mines, it's 5 foot high. But in this one, it just averaged 33 inches. And the animals they used in this mine was fairly large, so they had to remove some rock for them so they could pull the car outside after a miner would load it. So they took rock from here up to here so those animals would be able to pull the car outside. Now the city of Beckley took this much rock from here up to here so they could get you through here. Now the animals they used in the mines were goats, dogs, mules, ponies, and the larger coal seam they used oxen and horses. Now the only thing they used at that time to keep up this rock like you see it's over our heads is right here, this post and timber. That's all they had at that time. But today in the mine, they'll still use these timbers. They will use a header, roof bolts, and cribs like you see here. Now they didn't have no electricity in the mines until 1920. When they started using electrical equipment in the mines, this is one of the first things they put into it. This is a pump, electrical pump. It would pump out water, and the man didn't have to work in so much water. But before they had the pump, the electrical pumps, this is the type of pump that they had. And this is the way you use it. And a man had to change arms several times to pump water all day. And after that day, he called that pump a name. He called it Armstrong. Because it made his arms about that big around. Now, the coal seams they work today here in the state of West Virginia are in different heights. The smallest one that they work is 2 foot. They do not remove any rock, and in order to get around in it, you have to crawl. If you forgot how to crawl, you'll learn quick. And the largest coal seam that they'll mine is 16 foot in height. Have any questions before we go up to our next stop? No questions? We'll go on up there.
Ooh.
There wasn't no one working with him unless he was training his son. And this is what he loaded. They found these 2 cars in this mine, this 1-ton car here and the one over on the backside, the 2-ton. They found these 2 cars in this mines in 1960 when they opened it. If you look over behind that 2-ton car, you see where there's posts are sitting? That's the height of the mines when they worked it in 1890. Not very high, is it?
No.
Now, you keep that for a minute and I'll let you light it for me after a while, okay? place that he was gonna work, the first thing that man would do when he'd go into the area, he'd start checking this rock. He would make sure that rock wasn't loose and it wasn't gonna drop down and injure him. Now the method that they used, it's the same thing they use today. It's called sound and vibration. The miners call it sounding the top. Now you take your hand, extend it away from your body, put your fingers up against the rock, take a hammer, draw back and hit the rock real hard. Just like that. But you listen for a solid sound. That's what that miner wanted to hear. When that rock's solid, you didn't have to worry about it dropping down and hurting you. Now another sound he'd listen for, and that's a drummy sound. If the rock's drummy, it's loose and it's dangerous. And of course, if you didn't hear that drummy sound, and you mislicked the rock, if it's real loose when you hit it, you're going to feel the vibration of it in your fingers. And if it's going to fall, you can move your hand a whole lot quicker than you can your whole body. Now, when you're doing this through the mines, at no time do you take the hammer and check the rock directly over your head. If you do and it's loose, you're going to have a bad headache. Now, after a miner would check that rock, he would go over to his car and he would get his check tags. That's what this is right here. Each miner would have anywhere from 10 to 16 of these tags. All the tags would be the same number for that one miner. And he would take one of the tags off of the ring, he'd place it inside the empty coal car, he would clip it in where a tag wouldn't fall out. And then he would start loading the car. After the car was full, and it'd be about this high, the man using the animals would come and hook up to the car and then pull the car outside. Once the car was outside, they waited. After they waited, they would dump it. Then a man would reach inside there, pull that check tag out, look at the number, then write that number down. That's how they kept track of how much one man would load and who would load it. Some places you'd take each car though. He wouldn't have room to load the coal over the sides or the end. It might be in a lower coal seam, and sometimes that top would be over top of the cars about like that. So what he had to do there, he would crawl around to the back end, and he'd drop a tailgate, just like on a pickup. He'd drop that gate down, take his shovel, begin loading the back end. After he had the back end full, he'd crawl in behind and take his hands and push all the coal to the front. He kept repeating that several times till the car got full. Now, he worked a 10 to a 12-hour shift. He loaded 6 to 10 of these cars a day, and he was getting 20 cents a ton per ton that he loaded. He'd make $1.20, $2 a day. And he had to do a lot of other work in the mines, like setting these posts, making his own track. They had wooden track, and they had to make it for each place that they worked in. And pumping water, and using explosives to get the coal down itself before he loaded it. All that work was dead work, and the miner never did get paid for it. And out of that $2 a day, he had to feed his family with it. And he also had to buy the tools to work with. Because the only things these companies would furnish will be the cars, the posts, and the animals. Everything else come out of the miner's pocket. Now, women weren't allowed in the mines at that time. They were considered bad luck. And there wasn't no girls in the mines either. In 1972, that changed. Women started working in the mines, and there's several of them working in the mines today. But they used these young, hard-headed boys. The law stated when you went in the mines, you had to be at least 14. A lot of those kids would lie about their age, go to work when they were 8 and 9. And the reason they were doing this is their dads wasn't making enough money, couldn't feed them, so they went to helping. They made anywhere from 25 to 80 cents a day for the same hours as the men would work. Now, you got that. I'll give it right back to you just a minute. Now, this lamp that I have in my hand, they call it a flame safety lamp. And the miners will call it a possum light. And the reason they call it a possum light is this. See how it hangs from my thumb? Now, this lamp will detect 2 dangers that exist in the mines. And it's a state law in West Virginia. When you examine mines, you have to use this. One of the dangers I'm going to tell you about is a natural gas. It will continually come from the coal seam itself. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it. That gas is highly explosive. And it'll be up against the top inside the mines. Because it's light, it'll float up against the top. Now that methane gas is the same type of gas that you might use in your home to heat your home with or cook with. If you do use it, the gas company that you have will add an odor to it. If you have a leak, you'll be able to find it. Now what you do is you light this lamp, you put your small 1/4-inch flame in here, and when you do, you take it, you go up against the top, and you hold it up there. And when you find methane, there'll be 3 changes to the flame that's in here. this flame will get larger, and it'll be shaped like a Christmas tree, and it's gonna be a light blue. Don't get excited. Just take this thing, ease it down real slow, and go make a few corrections to help you increase the air into the place where you're working, and you'll get rid of it. Now the other thing that this will detect, they call it black damp. It's heavy, it's real low in the mines, it stays in pockets. What that is not enough oxygen to sustain human life. And if you get in it, and you stay in it for a while, you're not going to be coming back out of it because it will kill you. Now you take it, you hold it real low like this, you walk along the bottom, and you start checking for it. And when you come in contact with it, the flame that's in here will flicker a few times, then the flame will go out. When it goes out, all you have to do is hold your breath and get away from it, because if you stay in it, you're going to have a bad problem. Now I used to light this thing and take it and show the trip through here. You know how it works. There's no methane in there. You can hold it again. But I quit lighting it because of one lady that I took through here last year. That particular day that I took her through, the man that usually fills the bottom of that thing up with the fuel that goes in it, he didn't. And I had it lit, and I was going through here telling them about the black damp, like I just explained to you. Telling them how you get into that stuff. You know, as the flame goes out, you better get rid of it, get away from it. She listened well to me, because the flame went out when I got down in here with it, and she didn't say nothing to nobody. She just jumped over this rail on the car, and down the track she went to get it. Then I went down there in my car, down there at the curb when we parked the first time, and I told her, I said, there's no black damp up there, and she said I was lying to her. I was trying to kill her. Had to take her outside. And then she tried to tell me she was 59 years of age. Can't believe it, though. Ain't nobody that age can run that fast. Now, this is a light that they used. This is called the teapot light. You put oil or kerosene in here, like this wick, it burned for 45 minutes. Then it fit onto a cloth canvas hat. And before these, they were using candles. And then in 1890, they started using these. And they used them in some mines until 1954. I bet you know what it is.
Used to have one of them.
This is called a carbide lamp.
Still got one of them.
Yeah, you got a collector's item. It's got carbide in the bottom of it. Looks like small gray gravel. There's water in the top of this. When that water touches that carbide, it makes a gas. And that gas is called acetylene gas. If you have sinus problems, you can take one sniff of this gas and it'll clear your sinuses.
Okay, get you some.
You can also use it to fish with it if you want to, but if you get caught with it, they'll put you in jail. You ain't jumpy, are you? Now, after the man would light this would last an hour and a half to 2 hours. And when it would go out and he was working by himself, he was in complete darkness. He had to get down on his hands and knees, feel around in the darkness, examining for his can of carbide. And when he found it, he'd put it in the bottom, fill the top with water, and go back to work again. Also used this lamp to light his fuses for his explosives. And they used it for one more thing. This man would come inside the mines 2 to 3 hours before the rest of the men would come working, take the lamp, go up against the top like this, walk along the top, and examine the natural gas of that open flame. And when that flame would touch that gas, it would blow up. They called it burning it off. That's the only way they knew how to remove it. And the man that would do this, they paid him 20 more cents on a day than any other miner. And each man would go through the community and pick out the man that would do this. All you had to do is look at him. You know what he's doing for a living, because none of them had any eyebrows, mustache, or beards. They'd be burned off, and their hands and their face would usually be burnt and scarred. Is anyone afraid of the dark? This ain't too bad, is it? A little bit better than a candle, not much. But when the miner was loading these cars, he had to watch what he put in them. If he would accidentally put any rock in a car, and they would take the car outside and dump it, they wouldn't pay him for it. That was a free one. Now, since none of you are afraid of the dark, I'm going to turn this light out and let you experience the same thing that the miner did. Are you ready? We'll drill 3 holes 4 foot deep, one in the center, one on each side. After that was completed, he would put his drill up, go get his newspaper, his black powder, and his fuses. He'd take a page of that newspaper, roll it up to like a bundle, pour the black powder into it, place him a fuse in it, and put one in each hole. After that was done, he'd remove that carbide light and light all 3 fuses. And then that man wouldn't even take time to put the light back on his head because he had to do some real serious running or crawling. He had to get out past these corners. If he didn't, this coal seam would explode out onto him, injuring him. And sometimes it would injure him. But if it did, it taught him a lesson that he never forgot. The next time he was going to do this job, he was going to run a whole lot faster. Any questions?